Good evening. Queenstown is bursting at the seams this season with a huge influx of Australian tourists chasing the snow. After a few lean seasons, the ski fields are revelling in the record numbers of foreigners on the slopes and the money they're bringing with them. Here's Alana James.
North Islanders call this snow, but South Islanders call it gold. That's because in a record ski season like this one, it's bringing an extra $10 million into Queenstown.
Release, get your down.
Australians are head over heels about our slopes. The snow is superb and the price of ski weeks is a steal. To fly from Australia with accommodation and ski tickets for a week, it's just $800. Mount Cook Airlines says it's bringing 1,000 skiers a week in on such packages, and that's put business up by 230% compared to last season.
And it's way above expectation. They've really flooded across the Tasman this year to Queenstown.
Would it be a record?
In terms of Australians coming to New Zealand, possibly not. In terms of Australians coming to Queenstown, very much so.
Tourists here enjoying the snow are packing out Queenstown's hotels and motels. They've already booked out some of the top spots for the peak weeks.
Well, personally, we've seen a big increase over this 3-month period of the winter time, about 30 to 40%, which is very significant, especially if we compare to years like 87, 88, the last 2 years that we've been having. Now, looks like we're going to have a record winter time here in Queenstown, record numbers. With the Whisper Jet, it's now the icing on the cake.
With Ansett new Whisper jets able to fly Aucklanders to Queenstown in just an hour and a half, compared to the usual 4 to 5 hour travel time, there could be a second surge of Kiwi skiers into the town. Till now, there's been little increase in Kiwis.
Well, the economy in New Zealand is the way it is. It's left not a lot of New Zealanders coming out of Auckland, but certainly a lot of people out of Australia, and I think it's good.
Helicopter operators are also cashing in on the Aussie ski boom. Some report a 200% increase in business this season. Ski fields in Queenstown and Wanaka have a 40% increase in skiers. Australians are spending millions of dollars in the hotels, shops and on the slopes. And so long as the snow holds, this winter will be a golden one for Queenstown.
Negotiations which could affect the future of Cromwell's rare chafer beetle are underway between the Cromwell Borough Council and objectors to its plan to site a new rubbish tip near the beetle reserve. The Department of Conservation and other environmental organisations are opposed to the tip site. They say its impact on the nearby chafer reserve could be disastrous for the flightless beetle, which rates alongside endangered species such as the kakapo and black robin. But the council has to find a new site for its tip. The present one will be flooded by Lake Dunstan. The two sides were due to argue the case before the planning tribunal, but agreed to settle out of court. Talks have reached a delicate stage, but neither side will say what conditions for the operation of the tip are being discussed. The science education in New Zealand has been under fire this week, but if the Otago Science Fair is anything to go by, there's no shortage of inquiring scientific minds in local schools. 300 experiments and inventions by intermediate and secondary students will be on display at the Dunedin Centre for the next 5 days. Alan Brady investigated.
Judges spent most of today assessing the work of the young scientists, which this year had categories for original inventions and scientific models, as well as research and experimentation. Current concerns about the environment and health issues had obviously prompted quite a number of the investigations, as had the Clyde Dam construction. There were several excellent models of hydropower at work. This sticky question was pondered by one group, with perhaps just a hint of prejudice creeping into the conclusion. And irritating problems which have vexed teenagers for centuries had new light and perhaps new hope shed upon them. Work on tannins by Logan Park fourth former Jason Tagg may have broken new ground in the health field.
Tannins actually inhibit microorganisms such as the ones that cause tooth decay and strep throat, and even the one that causes oral thrush, which is a very nasty fungus which grows inside your mouth.
These two young inventors from Macandrew Intermediate believe they have an alternative to windscreen wipers.
Well, we thought that the blades were a bit irritating on the windscreen, so we decided to invent a way where it wouldn't be as irritating.
Marama, what What's the idea you've come up with?
Well, instead of using blades, we've decided to use air, and a fan here creates a jet of air which goes up a tube and blows the water droplets off the windshield.
There's been quite a change in emphasis, whereas in the past science teaching was for the experts, for people that were going to be scientists. Now there's a tremendous emphasis on getting children to ask questions of their world and help them find the answers. So science is for everyone.
Otago rugby captain Mike Brewer is back in the All Blacks. He was named in the playing 15 today to replace the injured Michael Jones. Brewer had been called into the squad on Sunday, but the selectors didn't name their final side until after this morning's training. And back home, the Otago Boys High First 15 confirmed its status as the #1 schoolboys side in the South Island by thrashing Waitaki Boys by 40 points to 0. Otago Boys, which will represent the South Island in the national First 15 tournament later this month, scored 7 tries, 6 of them converted. 2 young Otago women who've known their share of battling adversity are getting ready for an exciting new challenge. In the next few weeks, they'll be leaving for the World Transplant Olympics in Singapore. John McDermott has their story.
These days, Anita Jackson is the bright and bouncy secretary for a group of Mosgiel companies.
No, I'm sorry, he's not in the office at the moment. Can I take a message?
But it's only 2 years since a lot of Anita's time was spent very differently. 2 kidney transplants had failed, and 3 times a week she plugged into a life-sustaining dialysis machine. For Liz White, that same process went on for 7 years before a successful transplant changed her life and led to a new career as a professional painter. The views around her Waihola home feature in her work. But it's the view from the first tee that will interest Liz most when she competes in the golf section of next month's Transplant Games in Singapore. She'll be one of 10 New Zealanders at the Games, the first time we've been represented. Anita is a sprinter. She'll be lining up in the 100 metres, a dream come true for someone who never gave up hoping.
3-4 years ago I couldn't have done this. It's thanks to the generosity of somebody who, when their loved one died, they donated an organ, and through that I can now attend this and have the energy to do it.
800 competitors will take part in what must surely be one of the world's most exclusive sporting events.
All the best to Liz and Anita and the rest of the team. We'll be back tomorrow night. Good night.